Everyone, welcome to the JavaScript coding block series where we learn JavaScript together. In today's lesson, we're going to cover JavaScript variables, how to manipulate variables. As a reminder, don't forget to check out the codingzoo.com website. That's thecodingzoo.com, all together. Website where we have study notes for each lesson and quiz programs for some lessons. I highly recommend that you code the examples with me as we do this lesson, and also study the notes and practice the quiz programs. I would highly encourage you and your child to study the study notes for each lesson, practice the quiz programs, and play around, do the code as we have the lesson. There's nothing like actually doing the coding to help you remember how to do it long term. So, all right, so if you're ready to get started, let's get started. So there's no need to create a new folder here. We're just going to use the lesson one folder for now while we're working in the console. Eventually, when we get into changing the actual JavaScript file, then we'll start creating new folders per lesson. So open up my lesson one folder, and I'm going to open with browser, open with Google Chrome, the index.html rather. You can double click it, right click it, and choose open with, either way. Now as I opened it, I received an alert. Don't worry about that, just click OK. We're going to work in the console today. So I'm going to press Control-Shift-J for Chrome. My console comes up. So let's talk about variables. So what is a variable? A variable in any programming language, including JavaScript, is just a placeholder, kind of like a name-value pair. A name equals something, right? Name, value, pair, name equals value, where you store information to use later in your program. Your program executes against that information, reads to that storage space in memory, and writes to it. That's called a variable. So in creating a variable, you want to be sure that you practice clean coding habits. So let's look at my console here. I could type in, let's see, variable VA for variable. That's in JavaScript. So var a equals 2. Well, you know, a isn't very descriptive, so that's not a good variable. You want to practice clean coding habits. You want your programming language to comment itself, your code rather. You want it to comment yourself. So let's rename that. So var is how you start out your variable. You can also use constant and let. And we'll cover those two at later times. All right, so let's just start with var, and let's give our variable name something descriptive. I'm going to say hair color. And notice how I use a smaller case h for hair and an uppercase C. So every word besides the first one should start with an uppercase letter. This is known as camel case. So hair color equals, and I'm going to start with the string variable, and we'll go over the different types of variables later on. So I'm going to do a quote, brown, and then end quote, and then semicolon. So I have var hair color equals brown. Press enter, and nothing really happened, right? I created a variable, but I'm not doing anything with that variable. So let's do that again. I'm going to go ahead and press up the arrow key just because it's just actually stored in the console there. And I'm going to press shift enter, which will move to the next line without executing that statement. So I don't want to press enter because it's going to execute that statement and you'll be done with the session. I'm going to press shift enter to go to the next line to type in a new statement, a new expression. Shift enter, and I'm going to do something with that variable. So I'm going to type in console, C-O-N-S-O-L-E, and I'll type in period, L-O-G, console.log, parentheses, single quote, my hair color is, space, single quote, comma, and now I'm going to use that variable. Hair color in parentheses, semicolon. So now I'm going to press enter. Once I press enter, it should execute these two statements. So I have a variable that called hair color, and it has a value of brown. And I've got a statement that uses that variable. So that first line will run. It'll put that variable in memory. The second line will take that variable out of memory and print it out to the console. Now, console.log, this is an example of an object and function. Log is a function. Sometimes functions can belong to an object. So log is a function, console is an object. We're going to cover those in later lessons. So I'm going to press enter. So here you go. It says my hair color is brown. It created the variable hair color in memory, and then the next statement read it from memory and printed it out to the screen. And that's it. That's all there is to it. A variable is a way of assigning values. You can assign strings. You can assign a collection of other variables that's part of an object. You can assign integers, longs. We'll go over those different, or you can assign numbers and strings, and depending on which language, you have different variable types. So we'll go over that in future lessons. Please let me know in the comments if you have any questions. Check out our other videos. I hope you enjoyed today's lesson. If you did, please click the link below. If you have not subscribed yet, please click the subscribe button. And if you want notifications on new videos, be sure to click the bell icon. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.